I don't die here. I don't die here. Be easy. Let's go. What up, what up? I am...
Crimson.
Today we're visiting this beautiful place called Oluns. This is a general guide to try to teach you everything you need to know if you are newly coming to Oluns, or if you maybe have a few hours under your belt, but you want a little bit more specificity in what you should be doing. This will not be going into detail about certain classes being better, or certain techniques in order to make Oluns more efficient. Now let's get into the obvious most first thing, gear requirements. The bare minimum to come to Oluns, in my opinion, is 289 AP and 381 DP. Can you come here a little bit lower? Yes, but I wouldn't recommend it. As for your crystals, you definitely want to make sure you have your 2 adamantines. You can use the green cheap ones, or if you really want to get the RBF expensive ones that aren't worth, in my opinion, especially if you're starting. Yeah, just don't get those. Just do the 2 cheap ones, trust. You can do 2 Jin Vipers, 2 Red Fangs, 2 Alucas, 2 Ancient Powers for that little bit of extra AP. Not cheat, of course, unfortunately. And lastly, 2 Corrupteds. The setup is relatively cheap for your crystals and allows an easily replaceable set for most players. If you also happen to have a Garmoth in your Awakening, you can also throw in 2 base Okrots. Next, we have your artifacts and lightstones. For relatively new people at Oluns, you don't really want to have too much of an expenditure to have that gateway to go to Oluns, so we're going to be focusing on the cheaper options. For your artifacts, if you notice you're missing more, do the accuracy artifact for your class. If not, then strictly just go monster damage. For your lightstones, definitely going to do damage. You can either do 4 predations, or if you want to spend a little bit extra and get that iridescent lightstone, you can get the wild set for 18 monster AP. Then you may be thinking, Crims, I want to go defensive, I want more survivability. No. Just do damage here. If you're newer to Oluns, or you only have maybe a couple dozen hours under your belt, you just want damage. Damage. You will have to come to terms that dying at Oluns is part of the process. That will not change. The learning experience, you will adapt, I believe. Next, buffs and things. Elixirs. First off, you're going to want all your traditional buffs. Exquisite Kron is the way to go here because the back attacks is very efficient. You're going to want your tent, both the attack and defensive church buffs, Gargalo armor buffs if you have those is nice. Also, if you manage to pick up a GM buff, especially after the maintenance stream, make sure to have that on your character. Very nice. Veil is a given. Loot Scroll. Agris is also very, very efficient here. Now for all the elixirs. Oluns, as you know, is a 3-man spot, and thus the elixirs for the party are distributed into 3. First, I will name the core elixirs for each parties, and then give you a few additionals you can add. All of these elixirs will be blue party elixirs, which you can craft yourself, or buy on the market for the most part. Party 1 is Detection, Concentration, and Frenzy, with Life being an additional one that you can add to this party. Party 2 is Destruction, Grim Reaper, Shock, and Draining. Brutal Perforation is a nice little addition if you want that little bit extra damage and you're first starting out. Party 3 is Griffin, Assassination, and Will. The elixir is Brutal Death, and even Steel Defense can be added to Party 3 to help survivability. I'll be putting a little infographic I made down in the description for you guys to utilize. Now that you have all this, you are prepared to grind Oluns. Best practice is to wake the first golem before you actually go and start grinding. You do this simply by just auto-attacking, hitting him, and then walking away and getting out of his range. And well, if you don't know the range, you're gonna learn now, son! The 3 main pieces of terminology that you're gonna want to know that are commonly used in Oluns is golems, babies, and arm. Golem's the big guy, very obvious. The arm is actually part of the mechanic that he does. He'll be throwing his arm down after a certain threshold, and you can DPS that one individually from where it drops. Babies? Well, you guessed it. I know you knew it. It's all the little dudes. It's all the little babies around the big guys, the big golems. It is preferential to put the golem's arm in a certain location, which I think is a really good habit to start off with. In the background, I will be leaving the pings for where you should be placing the arms. This is also the order in which you do the golems, so do pay close attention to where I am heading. Now to explain a little bit more. There are 17 total golems in this rotation. It's a huge circle. Biggest circle in BDO that you can find. Or at least actually with purpose. Make sure to start popping your party elixirs before you start your first golem. You have that newer continuous care skill. Oof, that's beautiful. You never have to worry about it and set them and leave them. It's great. Not, unfortunately, you're going to have to pop them manually. If you have to pop them manually, I definitely recommend setting up your party on one of your hotbars and being able to pop them from there. Now, as you learn Oluns, you'll know that the golem's abilities are very telegraphed, very... Yes, huge red identifiers on the ground, large animations like, I'm swinging here. You want to stay behind them as much as possible. This will maximize damage that your party can do and quickly move through the golems. Fun smacking that booty, you know what I'm saying? Though in their case, flat rocky butt. Now when you've done enough damage, he'll eventually glow red and he'll go through an animation of wanting to put his arm into the ground. Destroy the arm, hit it until it breaks. After it breaks, finish off the remainder of the small golems, and you will choose one member of your team to pre-pull consistently. They will wake up the next golem simply by aggroing it and then coming back to you at the current golem. Destroy that golem and then head to your next golem, which will now be pre-pulled for you, and you will continuously do this over and over again to have a more smooth grind. You will get to a point where you have to go off a sheer drop of a cliff. Some classes have an advantageous skills that they can get across. Some like to use their horses if they have a Pegasus, but do be careful when you're dropping down. You know, like lawns, woosas, whoosh, fly across. With newer groups, you want to aim for 2,500 to 3k trash on blue Agris. I think that's a good starting benchmark for most groups. Now you're probably wondering, well, why did I go through all this struggle to earn this spot and do the things? Well, there's hella loot here. First, the trash is really good. You get a lot of Kafirs, you get a lot of dust, you get the leaves needed to create your armor for your La or Zeka. You can get a Lucas, which helps you to create crystals you may need or can sell for profit. And if you like to collect the things like I do, well, you can also get 3 pieces of the Elviat here and a corrupt flame to go with them. And let's not forget the most rare piece of all of the merchant ring. Do keep in mind, again, this is just a general guide for new players who are trying to get into Oluns. I do not wish to overwhelm new people who are trying to spot. There's a lot more little minute details and depth to Oluns that can make it more efficient, better, certain classes, certain techniques that you can do. If you'd like a more in-depth guide in terms of mechanics, efficiency, what classes are best here, make sure to leave a comment down below. And that is it for this base tutorial. Go smash some rocks, go kill some Oluns, go do the things in video, and have fun. Have fun with whatever class and however way you're doing it. If you found this guide informative, helpful, make sure to leave a comment down below. Like, subscribe to the channel. It really does help out the channel. And until next time, guys, Crimson out.